Hello YouTube, it's me, the student witch. I'm hoping you're having a beautiful day. It's nice and sunny down here in Georgia. And I watched Ember Honeyraven's, I've watched a few of her videos in which she and a larger group of witches and pagans set up a witchy learning or Witchyversity. And that got me to thinking, unfortunately, I will not be able to join the Facebook group that she and other witches created because I'm a busy grad student, and in order to join that Facebook group, I would have to create like a separate witchy Facebook account that doesn't have my real name on it, and I don't have time to deal with two Facebook accounts. Another reason that I can't directly participate in that Witchyversity, even though I really wish I could, is because the fall semester is going to start soon when I'm back up in Massachusetts, and I have so much reading to do for my courses and so many papers to write. I have just so many things going on. Since I am in academia, I am a PhD student, and I'm used to the fall and spring semester schedule already, I figured, hi, how about in the fall semester I set up my own kind of class schedule, 4 courses, one for each month of the semester, and in the spring semester I'm going to do 3 courses. Because hopefully in the spring I'll be studying for some of my exams, and I just need all the time I can get to study for those exams. So just 3 courses in the spring. So here's my course load in my witchy education. And I'll make sure in the video to include the citation information. So the fall semester I was thinking of focusing on the history of more Western European witchcraft, occultism, and pagan thought. I'm going to say that. So my first course is the history of Western European ceremonial and occult magic. So I already have this book on my Kindle. It's the 3 books of occult philosophy or magic by Cornelius Agrippa. I've only read the first few pages of it because I'm kind of waiting for when I'm back up in Massachusetts and my brain is back in like academic mode to sit down and study this. So that is a first source text that I'm going to read. And then I'm getting some text messages, sorry. I want to read Secrets of the Magical Grimoires, the Classical Text of Magic Deciphered by Aaron Leach. And I learned about this book by watching, I think, one of the witches on the My Witchy Side channel. Either within that channel or on their personal channel, they did a wonderful review of that book. And so I just think that's just an introduction to some of the thought and history of witchy knowledge in Western Europe. This is by no means inclusive or extensive. This is just, these courses that I'm setting up for myself are just meant to be introductory kind of things. Now for alchemy, I'm going to read a book that my husband's actually read and recommended to me, which is this one, The Sorcerer's Stone, A Beginner's Guide to Alchemy by Dennis William Hoke, I believe is how you pronounce that. So again, just a basic intro into alchemy. For my intro to Gnosticism and Christian mysticism, I'm reading Jesus and the Lost Goddess, The Secret Teachings of the Original Christians by Timothy Freak and Peter Gandy. And this book, I actually found it at a used bookstore up in Massachusetts, and I gave it to my husband for Christmas, and he loved it because it talks about how some of the first Gnostics and some of the first Christians maintained the sacred feminine in their belief structure. And it also tells the story of how the sacred feminine was stamped out and how Christianity, institutionalized Christianity, became a very patriarchal religion. So this is my intro to Gnosticism. And then, as far as a general history of witchcraft in Europe, I found on actually a course syllabus from the folklore department at the university where I go to. They actually, every few years, they teach to undergrads a course on witchcraft and folklore. I don't know if they're offering the course this year, and since I am a graduate student, I don't think I could take it for any credit, but I might just ask the professor if I could sit in. But this was on a syllabus from this course from a few years ago when they offered it the last time, and it's Witchcraft in Europe for the years 400 to 1700, a documentary history. And this is edited by Kors and Peters. And this book is really interesting because it has a lot of primary source texts. That is going to be my fall semester in my coursework on more Western European magic and witchcraft. So the spring semester is going to shift over to the type of magical practices that I am actually more drawn to and that I really want to incorporate in my own practice. And I'm going to call this New World Witchery, or New World Magical Practices. And so far I have 3 courses set up. The first course is going to be Salem, just the history of Salem. And I'm hoping either the fall or the spring semester I'll be able to make kind of a pilgrimage to Salem. I do live in the Boston area, so I can just hop on a train and within an hour I can be in Salem. It's just a question of time and money at this point for me to be able to go. This is another book that I got from that course syllabus, Salem Possessed, The Social Origins of Witchcraft by Boyer and Nisenbaum. My second course in New World Witchery is a course on voodoo, hoodoo, conjure, root work, and Appalachian folk magic. And this is something that I'm very drawn to because I have family in Appalachia in Kentucky. My grandfather was from eastern Kentucky in the mountains. I've already read these 2 books and I highly recommend them, and I will eventually do a book review for each of these, but they're by the same author. The first is The Candle on the Crossroads by Orion Foxwood, and you can get that on Kindle. And the second is his book, The Flame and the Cauldron, a book of old-style witchery, which this week I'm going to do a review on this book. So, and then doing some book searching on Amazon, I found a really interesting book, or at least it sounds very interesting, so I'm definitely going to get my hands on this. Backwoods Shamanism, an Intro to the American Folk Magic of Hoodoo, Conjure, and Root Work. And this is by Ray Dr. Hawk Hess. And then my last course for the spring, that I'm still developing the reading list for this one, it's gonna kind of explore the types of magical practices of the Spanish and Portuguese speaking world. Because when I say New World Witchery, I'm saying that within the context of colonialism, remembering the historical process of colonialism. and my place in that as a white Anglo person who lives in the new world. So I don't want to be Northern Hemisphere centric. This reading list is being developed still. I have 2 books on there so far, or 3 actually. The first, and I've done a book review on this, so you should check that out, is Gloria Anzaldua's Borderlands La Frontera, The New Mestiza. So this is coming from the perspective of the U.S.-Mexican border, and what does it mean to be a person of Mexican descent in the United States, where you don't feel like you really fit in anywhere, so you fit in within that in-between space of the border, which is a magical space. Anyone who's interested in liminal or border magic should definitely check this out. I am definitely interested in finding out more books on brujeria, or the type of magical practice on the U.S.-Mexican border or practiced within Mexico. So if anybody has any suggestions on that, I'm definitely interested. The second book, and I've read parts of this for a course a few years ago, it's by a Afro-Colombian author. His name is Manuel Zapata Oliveira, and I don't know if this book has an English translation, so unfortunately if you don't know Spanish you can't read this book unless they have a translation of it. But it's called Chango e Gran Putas, which I think roughly translates in Colombian slang, Chango, the biggest badass. And this book just fascinates me. Again, it's been a few years since I've read it, but what he does is he takes the Yoruba, West African, Santeria pantheon and spiritual paradigm, and he basically rewrites history through that lens or through that pantheon. For example, his first chapter is, and it's a novel, by the way, it's fiction. His first chapter, he rewrites the story of the creation of the universe, and instead of going through the more Western Christian lens of like Genesis and Adam and Eve, he talks about the gods of Santeria, Chango being one of them, and how they created the universe and created human beings. So it's like literally rewriting history. Instead of through a Eurocentric lens, it's an Afro and New World Afrocentric lens. It's fascinating. And the last book for the Spanish and Portuguese speaking New World Witchery would be Creole Religions of the Caribbean, and this was edited by multiple people, and I'll include the citation information here. So that would be just an introduction to like Haitian voodoo, Santeria practiced in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Cuba, and that kind of stuff. So that will be my spring semester. So if you guys are interested in any of these books, please check them out. Check them out on Amazon, read some reviews, and look through their the sneak peeks that Amazon gives you. And of course, if you think you can find these books through your local witchy shop or witchy bookstore, please support those local businesses. It's just because of money and time constraints. I have to get a lot of these through Amazon. So yeah, that's my witchy education for this academic year, and I'm really excited to expand my knowledge on this subject and enrich my practice. So until next time, have a great day. Blessed be everybody.